So you're welcome to my healthy food place, where I will share ideas and recipes on how you can stay healthy naturally. I'm your host here, Grace Enamal is my name. And today I'll be sharing something about insulin, insulin sensitivity. The grammar, it may sound like a very big grammar to people like us and you, some of you who are not in that field. But it's a common word. Insulin is a hormone that our body produces. And it has to do with blood sugar. It has to do with, controlling, monitoring, and distributing, and then regulating sugar in our blood, in our body. And when we talk of diabetes, most times people hear of insulin resistance, insulin sensitivity, or even insulin as an injection or a medication, which is normally given to those with a high level of the issue, so to enable their body be able to at least manage sugar to some extent. And so that is it. And so I also want to say that many of us, by the time we are getting to 60 years or even 55, you will agree with me that most of the diseases that may, and I use the word may, lead to the death of that person is already living with you, with us. Yes, whether it's diabetes or whatever, except for an accident that occurs, most of these diseases are already living with us. Let me put it that way. We are already managing them, whether you agree with it or not, but that's the truth. That's the way I see it, and I think that's the way it is. The thing is living with us. Either we are managing the insulin sensitivity or whatever, or already managing the diabetes already, or managing high blood pressure, or some other form of ailments that we need to manage using food if we desire to do so. And so those of you who are listening to me, if you're in your 60s or in your 55 or thereabout, if you're not on medication, I say congratulations also. But that is not to say that you are not using something, whether it's natural food or whatever, to manage your health. I use the word manage because it's managing we are talking about. So you need to manage it from time to time and then try to get it to come to its balance. Healthy balance for you. And so the matter of insulin, I want to share something actually that I learned lately. I think it's my own opinion or rather it's my view, what I discovered or found out. You can also drop your comments if you have anything relating to it. But I want to share this one that I learned lately. Now, we often say insulin resistance, insulin sensitivity. We've been using these words interchangeably, including myself. I don't seem to know the difference, and I don't even bother to find out. We know it is a precursor to diabetes. Even an illiterate person who is not even educated at all, when you talk about insulin, they seem to have to understand it, because it's one of the most common diseases these days because of our lifestyle. And so I have often been, using the words insulin resistance, insulin sensitivity. But recently, I had an experience which exposed me to begin to look at the two slightly to be different. Not so different. Talking of insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance. Yes, we know the word resistance. Do I need to explain it? When something is already standing as a barrier and resisting, that's what it is. The word resistance is an English word. So when the thing is already standing as a barrier, say nothing, there's no insulin, nothing is going to happen anymore. Then the next one, sensitivity, is when there is sensitivity. You eat this thing, it looks like your body. It happened to some of us, and it happened to me recently. And that's why I thought to share it with us. I thought to share it because each day we are learning, and each day our body is changing. And as our body is changing, I said we must also be making dietary changes to suit our life, to be able to manage our health. And so you may sometimes notice that your body is somehow sensitive, especially for the older adult. Your body is somehow like becoming very, very sensitive. You eat this thing, it's like it's not good for you. Sometimes, even some things you were eating before, sometimes you just notice, you take it, it's like it's giving you anxiety attack, or you're feeling like different behaviors. Your body just show up. And sometimes when it begins to happen, frequently with different messages, you begin to wonder what exactly is going on. And that was why I made a former video on plantain. I want you to listen to me on this aspect, because that's where I got this thing. Now, if you have a particular food in your compound, or maybe you are harvesting it from your premises, maybe it's lemon, or maybe it's oranges, maybe it's plantain, maybe it's yam, or even vegetable, whatever it is, healthy food, you need to be careful. Yes, you heard me. You need to be careful, because these are the risks that we face, especially older adults, when you tend to consume something in excess and then take your body out of balance, either because of its availability, accessibility, or maybe for whatever reason, you just started enjoying that thing. And that's why I said earlier that no matter how good a food is, you must take it in moderation, because moderation is our rule. Once you take it in excess, it's going to show off the ugly side, and most times you won't like it. And so, no matter how good, you must always have it in mind. But the problem or challenge we often have is, how do we even know when we have taken in excess? We won't know, except the body begins to speak. How does it speak? With signs, with symptoms, some other feelings. That's why I say we must always listen to our body. When it starts behaving that way, don't need to panic. Just keep on asking, keep on searching to find out what is going on. Because your body is sending a message. So, like I said, I got some of this unripe plantain because we know it's very, very good. It's good for the heart. It's good for maladies, stomach ulcers. If you feel like your gut health is weak, Gary, from why Africa still isn't invest. Okay. If you feel your gut health is weak, you feel your heart is weak, you feel your collagen is weak, you need to strengthen these things. Or you're often having anxiety attack, several other things like that. You may need to start including unripe plantain. And that's what I did in this case. Unripe plantain, we know, is a good food for diabetes, for managing diabetes. But like I said before, a lot of diabetics seem to have embraced it as if it's a solution for diabetes. Many of them forget that it's a source of carbohydrates. Even though it's slowly released, it's a carbohydrate, it's high carb. And so I got some unripe plantain to help me to strengthen my heart, because these are the key organs we must watch out as we get older, to be able to strengthen my gut health also, and then to balance, to strengthen to boost my immune system, because I've been off it for quite some time. Yes, I've been off it for months, to be precise. And so I said, okay, let me return it. So I got a very big bunch and began to enjoy myself with it. And again, the problem or the challenge we often have is the portion. especially we in this part of the world where we don't follow portion. We don't really work on portion. Talking of portion control. Many of us are guilty of this, including myself. We just eat and eat until we can eat no more. That is it. We just eat until your body says you are full. That's the way we are raised. And it is difficult to even change it. And the time, even if you try to change it yourself, your belly is no more used to it. I told you, I tried to change it so many years ago. And well, guess what? I began to have chronic constipation. Why? The body, once the belly didn't get the quantity that it should get before it released the waste, everything gets stuck in there. Both the old and the new, they are there. Because you haven't brought in enough to be able to push one. There is no one that's even bigger. That is having more force to push out the waste. So I was having chronic constipation that could linger for days. And why? I later found out it was because I was taking this food piecemeal. I want to lose weight. I want to follow portion. I want to follow nutrition, dietitian. I want to follow all of that. It was then I stopped. So I was taking my unripe plantain, and after about 4 or 5 days, I noticed that my tummy was getting bigger. You can see it. Look at my tummy. You can see how it's normal size. Look at it. This is how it is. Look at it. And this is how it should be. You can see it from there. If I stand up, maybe I will stand above the camera so you may not, but then you can see it yourself. You can see it. So that's how it is, my tummy. So I now began to notice that the tummy was getting slightly bigger. Just little by little, just by the side, looking without much disturbance, but some slight sleep problems, no more deep sleep. And that's why I said older adults should be aware of unripe plantain, not to avoid it. I'm not taking it out, but I just want to share this thing with us so that we must also be aware of it. So I continued for 4 or 5 days, just enjoying my unripe plantain with all the other, foods. But it was gradually building up insulin resistance. Not sensitivity, the resistance. Because I told us, I never knew there was a difference. I never thought of it, if there be any difference between the resistance and the sensitivity until this occasion. And so it began to build up slight resistance, whether in form of fat, I should think so. And so it began to build up slight resistance without me knowing it, and without you most times knowing it. So, but I have told us in an earlier video, you can watch that video. Don't forget to to subscribe, and you can watch so that you may be able to watch that video where I talked about the unripe plantain. I spent a whole video on it. And so it began to build up stomach fat slightly, and then slowly reducing the deep sleep. And the deep sleep not coming as usual was because of poor circulation. Because I told us we must focus on circulatory foods as we get older. Because of poor blood circulation, because it is a resistant starch. Remember, it has a resistant starch. And so it began to build up resistance too in the body. But the ugly side of it is that we are usually ignorant of this because it doesn't happen one day. It doesn't happen suddenly. Now, when you take a food that is high in sugar, it raises your blood sugar immediately, and you tend to have the feeling or stop, and you have to go away. But when you take a food like the unripe plantain, I said, which was the case, the one in this case, when you take a food like that, and it began to do it slowly, sneakily, slowly, you won't notice what was going on, except you have listened to messages like this, except you have watched videos like this, except you are knowledgeable or you are quite sensitive also to what is going on in your body. That is only when you will be able to notice what is going on. Like in this case. So it began to grow up slight stomach fat. I began to develop stomach fat slightly slowly. And the stomach will gradually, look at, a flat stomach began to began to grow by the sides, coming out. That was the insulin resistance building up, but I never knew it. And then it started to interfere with sleep because the blood circulation was also affected. Gradually, I just wake up sometimes at odd hours. Sometimes I wake up earlier, not feeling satisfied. Sometimes I'll just sleep and it takes some time to wake up. To sleep. Or poor blood circulation. And the next day, we go again to eat the same food. It's building up. That's a secret enemy. Until we get to discover it, as in this case. And so I noticed that it's really, really building up. I never knew. But when the sensitivity began, I woke up from my sleep. So what was that sensitivity about? The resistance was already being there. No disease started overnight. I often tell us that no disease started overnight. Started gradually. It was fed. It was nurtured. That thing we call disease, it was fed by who? You and I. It was nurtured by who? You and I. How? Through what we were eating. And so we can also reverse it. And I also want to share in this process what I did and what I'm still doing. And so the insulin began to build up gradually. And then over time, it moved away from the resistance that was already being built to sensitivity. And so what are the foods? Now, when the sensitivity began, it looks like the things we were eating and getting away, you're no more getting away with it. Things are just moving here and there. It seems your body doesn't have much tolerance, especially for carbs. That's what I noticed. The carbs we were eating and getting away, I was no longer just enjoying and getting away with them. So I began to look inwards. What were the things I did? What were the foods? The very changes I made in order to, tackle the resistance, the sensitivity naturally. Remember, it started through food. Consuming it was available. It was affordable. It was just around. So just eat. It could happen with any other food, not just, I mentioned this to be specific, but honestly, it could happen with any other food. Any other food that you're taking in excess could also throw you out of balance. It could be lemon. I knew of a case of a woman who was thrown out of balance because of lemon. And guess what happened? Swollen legs. Swollen legs. About 70-year-old woman. And they thought it was kidney problem. It's not at all times that you just see swollen feet, swollen legs. The next thing that comes to people's mind is kidney. No, it's not all the time. Sometimes look into your diet and stop that thing that is creating that imbalance, and it could just be fine. And so that was what happened in the case of that woman. I won't forget it. They were worried that it's kidney problem, but when they found out that she had a lemon in her compound and when they heard of lemon or read about lemon or some of the videos we watch online, lemon can do this. It's not at all times that you resort to lemon. So they began to take so much of the lemon. And remember, she wasn't taking enough protein. And the lemon did what only lemon can do. And before you know it, other things began to show up. Other problems began to show face, like in this case. And so, what are the things Number one, the first thing I did was to reduce the carbohydrates, stop the carb. In fact, I almost stopped everything carb about within a short time. It's possible. And I began to feel well again. I began to have energy again. Because when it begins to happen, you begin to have poor sleep, low energy. In fact, your brain and everything, you are not just fine. You can't think properly. Even to come and make a video, you can't. You can't do anything when you don't sleep. So, and then as you are keeping awake, the resistance is getting worse. And so the first thing is to stop the carbohydrates. Most of the regular carbs I was eating, enjoy freely, I had to stay off, including the unripe plantain. Stay off it. In order to reverse that situation, I began to focus more on protein. And the time you start focusing on protein, you start noticing that things begin to fix up again. Begin to have more energy, more protein in your diet, wherever you can find it. If you can't find it, it's better to stay fasting. Yes, just don't eat. That's better. It may look like life is going out, but it's better. It's better, my dear. It's better. It's better to not to eat when there is sensitivity. Just fast. As a matter of fact, fasting is part of it. Just fast. That's number two. Moderate fasting so as to reduce the sensitivity. Then there are other foods that works very well too, which I wasn't really taking seriously. I'm not a lover of okra. Even the okra water, take okra water and all of that. I wasn't, to remove the sensitivity, I'll tell you the food that worked very fast. Now, when the sensitivity was strong, I tried some of the remedies. It wasn't even working anymore. When the resistance was there, I'll tell you now, when the resistance was there, it's no more there now. But when the resistance there, it's not the same food that worked. I was trying to break through the resistance. So, consuming cooked food, I made, what is it called? I made this drink, Zobo drink, hibiscus flower tea. I made it. I added gin. I added some other things like sorghum tea to help to improve blood circulation, and it actually worked. It was working. And each one must be taken cautiously. It was working to break through so that it was, I don't know why they are calling. Okay, so they should stop calling. Okay, let me lower the distance. So, so the insulin resistance was there. So when it was actually there, that the tummy was big. You can see it's flat now. You can see it. If I stand up, you won't see my face anymore. But when I do like this, you can see it. So when the insulin resistance was, the tummy was slightly protruding. And that's why I said, if you're already having a big tummy, you're a woman, you better work on it. It may be that it's living with you already. You were not born like that. And don't tell me that you were born with big tummy, that you were born to have big tummy. It's food that you were eating. My tummy was very big, if you come to big tummy, because I had some cesarean sections, and that made my tummy very big. I mean, so big. But you can work to bring it very, very flat. It's the safer place for you, especially as we age. Don't go with big tummy. It's not healthy. It's not, the heart is even finding it hard to carry it. And so working on how to break it is what I'm talking about. How to break that resistance that was my tummy. It was strong. It's slightly bigger than this and strong. I mean, I noticed that was the cause. I was eating the unripe plantain too much. I was enjoying it. It's a healthy food. I was really getting the benefits of having my heart strengthened, having all the other, but it was gradually building up. Better take note of it and watch out when you are consuming it too much. Don't take it out outrightly. It's not good to you to remove it from your diet as an older adult. And so I had to boil hibiscus flower tea. And then I added, what is it? Guava leaves. Guava leaf. They play with insulin resistance, so it deals with it, my dear. But then, maybe for whatever reason, after boiling the guava leaf with the hibiscus tea and taking it, it began to really break it gradually. It didn't happen in one day. It took about 4 days or thereabout. But it was really doing so, but it wasn't really doing much. So in the night, I wake up sometimes, I could just feel it there. It's strong. So there was one night precisely that I woke up. I said, why is this thing still there? You know, I knew it was the resistance. It was really strong. My tummy is not supposed to be strong like this now. Like this plantain, I cause all this wahala. So I went and brought fresh guava leaf, the tender part of it, and kept it. And that's why I also shared a video where I said sometimes we could be forced to take something at odd hours of the night if the need arises. And so that was my first time to try it. So when I noticed that the thing was really there, I picked small of that fresh guava leaf by my bedside. I kept it there. Said, I can't allow this thing to continue like this. I took one small leaf, washed it. Around there, maybe 3:30. It was very, very odd hour. I chewed it very little. Honestly, it began to deal with it. And I can tell you assuredly, that was the one that really broke that resistance. When we are dealing with insulin resistance, cook food, it doesn't work much. Whether not cook medication, especially when you are older. It could be working for younger children, for young girls, young boys, maybe somebody like 30, 40. But for older adults, if you're close to 60 or above, or you're even 70, or you are 50 and above, and it's happening to you, insulin resistance is already there. And you know it that is there. If you want to break it, it's possible. But it's not with only cooked food. You will have to apply raw foods. This one was strong. I had to bring the guava leaf that night at an odd hour, very odd hour, not 12, not 1, something more than that. And I chewed the guava, those tender parts, washed it, and chewed it. I didn't even have to take just water, just chewed it. Like, people that chew bitter cola and all those things, all those old people in the village, they'll be chewing all kinds of things. And when we were growing up, we didn't know why they're always chewing something. It was helping them. Sometimes maybe they have digestive issues. They know what they normally chew. But we normally observe they always have one thing they will be chewing. Other alligator pepper, they will be chewing one thing. Small thing, they are chewing something. So, and they don't chew what is sweet. If it's not bitter cola, it will be alligator pepper, it will be bitter leaf stick, or they will just be chewing something. And so we thought it was then. But we are getting to that stage. That age that they were, when we are looking at them as young children, that they are always chewing something. Some of us will be laughing at them. And we are in it now. And so I got that leaf, that guava leaf, washed it slightly, and honestly, I chewed almost, I couldn't finish it, but I was afraid. It was quite late. People were sleeping, but I just have to chew it. And immediately I chewed it and lied down, it began to work. I could feel it positively. When something is working positively in your body, I could feel it raw, not cooked. But before then, I already took the cooked one slightly before going to bed. The cooked one with the zobo and whatever. It was working, but it's not fast enough. It wasn't effective enough. When you are dealing with that resistance, You need something raw. And I tell you, that guava leaf worked. And after that night, I never took it again because it was strong. Raw foods are stronger. They're more powerful, they're more effective. There is no barrier. So it was able to break through that resistance that very night. And after that, I was no longer feeling it like that. I began to take other cooked foods, other cooked things, but I took that plantain out of my diet I say it's going to be out for about 20 days or a month, maybe. Then I also did not take other starchy foods. I focused on, plant-based vegetables. Then there's one food that I brought in later on. I didn't used to like okra, but I tell you, okra is a powerful food against things like insulin resistance, against things like insulin sensitivity, particularly the sensitivity. Because after the resistance, it works for resistance, it works for sensitivity also. So the one that I know knocks off the resistance is that raw guava leaf. I don't know the species that you have, but the one I used was a purple, the one that have that either brownish color, not the white guava, the other color. We have two colors. So I took the slice leaf and chewed it. It worked. And now what was I working on? To reduce that belly fat. It is the one that was growing while enjoying my unripe plantain. Whether you are eating it with vegetable or eating it, some people will say, no, my own, I'm eating it, I always eat it with, it doesn't matter. Vegetable, it will do its own, but the plantain will do its own work. We must be cautious of it. So after getting out of the resistance, it became the sensitivity. Yes, the resistance came first. It's like building a block or sewing a thread. Gradually, it was coming up. Now, you want to stop it after you noticed that something is wrong with your system. You want to stop it. You want to say, no, don't continue. Enough of that resistance. It begins to be sensitive. Everything is sensitive. You put here, so you eat this one. And so in that case, after overcoming with the resistance, using things like hibiscus flower tea, I'm telling you, you can write it down. I bought the hibiscus flower tea, added guava. It was working. You can add a little ginger, but ginger was not actually the main something. Ginger can help for circulation, but I didn't really use much ginger because when you don't have too much protein in your body, it's not good to take too much spices. They will create anxiety attack. That's what happens to a lot of us, a lot of women. When you are not, you know that we don't have access to sufficient protein in our diet and in our environment. If you start taking too much spices, it's going to give you more ugly feeling that you won't like. So I was very careful not to add too much spices because of the sensitivity. When the body is sensitive like that, you become, you have to be more cautious, even with things like lime. I had to stop lime, all those lime juice, lemon juice. Even on one of the days when I had to take ginger tea in the morning, it was also not too good. Began to manifest somehow. So I had to be careful. But I noticed another combo that was good. Turmeric and ginger. Don't make it too much. Fresh. Don't let it be too much. What do? They fight the inflammations. There are other inflammatory aspects that we're also building up with insulin resistance. But by the time you're able to stop the insulin resistance and then bring in foods like okra, I was surprised at how I've never tested these things, I'm telling you. But that's why I have to come and share it during this life. I use okra to make soup occasionally, though I'm not a lover of it so much. People boil okra water and take in the morning. Soak okra. Me soaking raw okra and drink. I may be testing that one in a couple of days, but then on one of the days, what I actually did, I stopped eating carbohydrates before going to bed. Yes, I stopped. I was just so sensitive of everything. So the only thing I could take was vegetable, a little. I leave the stomach almost empty. So the sleep was very scanty. But the day I tried to make soup with just okra, no salt, no pepper, nothing, just only okra, and just let it stay inside the stomach, it worked also. But you know your sleep will not be so deep, but it was good. That's one thing. It's one thing when you are not deeply sleeping and you know your body is calm, you feel good. But when you take starchy foods, it's like a load on you, not only on you, on your organs. So you feel unwell. And that's why some people have pains. They say they have pains here and there because of those carbohydrates. Then sometimes they have to bring in medications. What do the medications do? To help them so that they continue enjoying what they were enjoying, all those starchy foods. I wasn't eating starch in the night. It was only yesterday I didn't really eat any starch also, but I told myself that from today I'm going to be eating a little because the night is long, it's far. And so when you don't eat it early in the morning, it seems like the blood sugar seems to be going down. Yes. And you know the funny side of it, of this whole thing, why it's important I share this with us, with you, my subscribers, followers, and everyone that cares to listen, especially the older adults. Why it's important I share it is that when I even check my blood sugar, it was 84, 83. So you see some people, they say my blood sugar is okay, my this is okay. I have asked a lot of people who come for coaching, who called me for things. They say my blood sugar is this. No, my dear, let's not be deceived. Let's also not be carried away by that singular test. With that machine, we check with our blood sugar, dropping on it, and it reads this, and we just go ahead and say my blood sugar is okay. It is through this time, during this period, I also got to know that the blood sugar could be okay, but the insulin resistance is building up. So it's not at all times when you just run the test, you just take your blood sample, put it there, and it shows you maybe 90 or 85. You say, but my sugar is okay. Yes, agreed. Your sugar is okay. It may be okay, but the resistance is building up and causing damages, causing problems. Yes. So in order to remove it, first of all, remember, I said dealing with the resistance is one thing. Using hibiscus tea, using, what is it called? I've told you the two most powerful teas that really worked. I don't want to say others because several other things, much more here and there. But the two most powerful ones that I can say categorically that they were quite effective, I mean, instantaneously, was the hibiscus flower tea. We call it zobo. It helps to improve blood circulation, even your legs. And then if you had low, maybe the iron had not been absorbed, maybe there were even too much, because you know ripe plantain is a source of iron. So when you now add the what is it called? The guava leaf, which is a source of vitamin C, another, it helps with the absorption of the if there were too much iron, because too much iron is not good for older adults. Whether you get it from synthetic blood tonic, which we say is not good for you to be taking multivitamins as you are getting older, or you are older, it's not good. You can get enough iron. And so in case you are short of iron, the hibiscus tea will supply you, will up it up, and then the guava leaf, which is a source of iron, will up it up. But something that I think makes the guava leaf stand out is because of its hormone balancing ability. There are other foods like bitter leaf. There are other foods that can lower sugar. So many foods. The cloves are there. I had cloves. They are there. Fenugreek oil, they are there. They lower blood sugar gradually also. There were other herbs. I mean, even the green tea helps to lower sugar if you are talking of blood sugar. They help with insulin resistance too. Each one is it. Even the chamomile tea helps you lower your sugar. Even I have mistotu tea. There are other teas. Not only the teas, there are chia seeds. Chia seed was available. Now I'm trying to let you know that it's not, there are specific foods or herbs for specific occasions. So if you are trying to break that resistance, it's not you'll be trying out everything. You have to know exactly the one that have other, each one is unique. Now you get to know that each food is unique. There's no two foods that lowers sugar that are alike. There's something that makes one stand out. I told us cloves lower sugar, chia seed lower sugar, mango leaves lower sugar, green tea also lower, even ginger lowers tea, fenugreek seed lowers tea, it lowers the sugar. Bitter leaf does. Even the black coffee, it does. Several other foods, bitter cola, so many things that can lower sugar naturally. But then, when you are talking of specifically this insulin resistance, when it's at that stage, and you're a woman, for instance, things like hormonal imbalance, menopausal issues will be interfering also, will be, coming up. And so when these things are clashing, sometimes you'll be confused. And you will agree with me, a lot of you that are listening to me, that sometimes you are like confused. You don't know what again to eat. You take this one, it seems your body doesn't like it. You take, sometimes maybe because of hormonal imbalance. But there are food that helps with hormones in a way. And so when you use such herbs during such occasion, that aspect of them comes in and then may be able to bring everything to a balance and making it more effective for you. So it was able to break that insulin resistance. And I noticed the tummy started to go flat again. And that's one of the signs. Very obvious, you know, you see it yourself. And then when that insulin resistance was building up, you'll be noticing constipation. It's one of the agents too. When you'll be noticing constipation, when you try to empty your bowel, it's very, very scanty. Yes, it will be scanty. It will come. It will not hold it outrightly, but it will not empty well because the insulin is building up. And so those foods I mentioned, you can use them to lower sugar, but not having high blood sugar is not a conclusion that insulin resistance is not building up. Especially when it's coming from resistant starches like this. It's coming up gradually. But there are smart ways you can also find out so that you reverse it or push it back before it causes much damage. Because what they do, before some of us realize it, they've already caused the damage or damages. That's exactly what we're saying. So when it's at the point of resistance, you got to know and withdraw the food that is causing it. But when it gets to sensitivity, for instance, when you are trying to send it away, I'll give you an instance now. When something is just coming to settle and you want to send it away, it's going to you're going to do like the balance. You wanted to settle gradually, they come in, secretly like that and come and stay with you, be building up. And you'll be feeding them with, maybe you are eating unripe plantain, more and more of it. And even you add cassava to it, add other carbohydrate, they say eat it. Eat it. You have to eat. Even sometimes when you go to hospital, even with this challenge, that I'm telling you. The food that is still available that you will be fed is nothing but this carbohydrate, this same unripe plantain or cassava or whatever that was causing the problem. And that's what they will feed you with. And then maybe give you medication to be able to close your body, stop your body from speaking. Because it's your body that was speaking that time, speaking out. But in order to just allow you to continue to manage your life, they'll be giving some medications, and then the body will just shut up and no talk again. So just eat what you want to eat and then put the medicine. So that is it. But that is not the best solution. That's not the best way out. The best way is using natural means. And another way that worked for the insulin resistance, which I tried, was exercise. Rigorous exercise. It works. In fact, on one of the days when the thing was at its peak, that was the day I discovered, okay, you know what I said? I said, okay. I have known my enemy from today. That was what I said in the morning. I said, okay, I'm going to market. I got up very early. I got ready. It was time to work. Whether I'm buying or shopping, it's not the issue. The issue is that today I'm going to work until I'm very, very tired. And what did I take in that morning? I just made a little ginger tea. And turmeric fresh. Not too concentrated though, so that it doesn't start dragging me. And take it and zoom off. No food till I came back in the evening. It was at mid-afternoon, around 1:30, 2 o'clock. So I didn't take anything. I just went out and had a good walk, and it really helped. So one of the ways when the insulin resistance is there is to be deliberate about exercise. If you've not been exercising, you have to be deliberate and go out for a long walk, so to help the body to activate the internal organs, so that they start breaking the resistance, through the resistance. So that was it. Exercising is very important. You have to include exercising, take out the food that was causing the insulin resistance, and then apart from taking out the food, reduce your starch to the barest minimum. At least for a couple of days, you have to stop them so that the body can be able to break through the insulin resistance. And then, because protein is the building block, just focus on more protein, plant-based especially. But I tell you, I had to go get both the sardines. Just prepare yourself. Go get the things, the eggs, the sardines. So if you can get bush cut meat, organic meat, not meat that they have treated. If you get it, go ahead and eat it. It works too. It helps with the resistance. Because I tell you the truth, I was able to include such too. So if you have access to it, if you see any meat, all this meat they cut along the road when we are traveling, you see them, grass cutters and the rest of it, that have not been treated like the cows and the goats and the rest. If you see anyone that is well dried, use it to cook. Eat it with vegetables. Eat it with lots of vegetables. Eat lots of legumes. Yes, legumes. During that period, you have to stop the lemons, because each time I take the lemon too, because of the sensitivity, the protein wasn't enough for the body. Because when you are dealing with pre-diabetes, or when you are trying to stop all those things, is protein that you need to focus on, and vegetables. And when you are taking the vegetables, make sure you add a little of animal protein to it. Yes, if you don't, it's going to make you to start feeling as if something is moving around on your forehead. Yes, it has happened to me, and it's one of the things when the body didn't have much things to build. It begins to, some feelings that you can't even explain begins to happen because of the relationship between the gut and the brain. That's how I get to know. And so you need to, be able to, you need to include protein more sufficiently in your diet. Fish, fermented iru, fermented food in little amount. Then the next food that you need to focus highly on are the fiber rich. Fiber is very important. Honestly, apart from the okra, which I told you that works very well, the okra works. It's a very strong food against either insulin resistance or diabetes. Very powerful, especially if you are trying also, whether it's for the resistance or for the sensitivity. It works for both. But on those occasions, I didn't have to cook it like soup, adding peppers, salt. In fact, on 2 nights, I just cut it and I didn't have onions, anything. You just let it stay. Let it just sit down there like you're wading a bridge. When it says it doesn't allow any other thing to pass through, I just put it, let it just sit there and let it be there. It's a source of calcium too, and it's mildly sedative. When I did it that day, the first day, I never tried it. It's good to try out all these things. It's not, you just watching videos and up and down. Sometimes little things you try. So I tried it. You didn't know, if you add pepper, it's going to, because of your body is so sensitive that time, you start feeling as if, you don't feel okay. If you add some of those, that was what happened. At least for 1 night or thereabout, 1 or 2 nights, not more than that. After taking pepper in the morning or in the cayenne pepper, don't go to black pepper during that period. It's not a good food. Nobody will tell you, your body will tell you. And so I just prepared it and took it as my night something to cover to stop the stomach from releasing acid and the sensitivity of whatever is there, and it carries you for long. That's what I noticed with the okra, and that's why it's a diabetic friendly food. It stays for long without mucilage. It will coat the delicate walls of the intestine gently, without spices like peppers, and just gently coats it and stops it from that sensitivity. Just stay calm, and then you have providing electrolytes like calcium also, and some other, even magnesium for your heart. It's also heart friendly if you take a small amount. I'm talking of okra. Cook it lightly and then take it. Sometimes you're wondering what to eat at night. Make okra soup. Make okra soup. And I noticed something about the okra soup. If you don't use starch to spoil it. Because I noticed what we normally do, many of us, to spoil some of this natural food, is when we do it, we go and use lots of starch. Yes, we use lots of starch to eat it. So the okra will not be able to have effectiveness. You will not have that effectiveness that comes from the okra because you have already combined it with starch. So you don't have to. If you must, it has to be something very light. You must be aware of what you want the okra to do for you while you're taking it. On a normal day, I wouldn't like just take okra and go to bed. I hadn't tried it before. But because of this particular situation, because of the sensitivity, because of the resistance, I had to put it and then give it a try. And honestly, it worked. Yes, it worked. You can also try it out. If you suspect things like that, you may need to try it out. Yes, you just get a fresh one, wash it, and then just before you go to bed. And there's one aspect that is even more interesting about it, is that it keeps your skin glowing. Yes, no wonder they call it ladies' fingers. It keeps your skin glowing, helps to manage your. And if you actually hadn't taken any starchy food during the day, it may tend to lower your sugar. So if you know that it's not taking you to, it's not really, the resistance or the sensitivity is not really much, you can just add a little starch to it. That's what I intend to be doing. But when you are on the climax of trying to break that resistance, my dear, you have to make that sacrifice. Let it be only okra, no starch, no carbohydrates. Why? Because the existing carbohydrates, the existing resistance that was posed by the unripe plantain has to be removed. It's like a blockade. It's like a fence. So how would you remove the fence that it had created when you are bringing in more starches, more carbohydrates to build upon the existing resistance? And so that is why you have to starve that resistance, because for a disease to thrive, you need to feed it. Every disease requires food to survive. And who will provide the food? It's you. It's I. We are the one that ate food that brought the disease. It is you that will still eat something to reverse it. And so in this case, you need to starve it of the carbohydrates, so that when you do that, it's going to begin to burn the existing one. Begin to feed on the ones that are existing already. And there is one more caution before I go, and that is on the place of nuts. Yes, nuts are good, but when you are dealing with insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance, it's not a good option for you. It's going to aid it. It's not going to work in your favor. What you need to do is to temporarily suspend the peanuts for a few days, suspend the cashew nuts for a few days. Why? Because they are high in calorie. When you are trying to deal with insulin resistance or insulin sensitivity, you need to take out the high calorie food. You need to have calorie in your mind, because when you bring in foods that are high in calorie, it's going to start building up again. Whether it's peanut, whether it's cashew nut, and you can't believe it, even almond. Almond does not affect your blood sugar, but when the resistance is there, it's not the food of choice. I do not suggest or recommend it for you. Yes, because it's going to make your matter worse. So you don't need to go there until after you have successfully removed the resistance. You can return it, in very small amount. You can return it in small amount. You don't have to bring it, rush it to avoid weight gain, because weight gain is one of your enemies. You don't have to, because once you start to add weight again, the insulin resistance starts building up, and then the sensitivity will also come up. And that's why it's something you need to be managing, need to be dealing with, you need to be handling. From time to time, just listening to your body, and just a little to the right, a little to the left. You don't have to, you don't have to just focus on one remedy. Reduce the nuts, bring in more protein. Reduce the spices when you are experiencing the sensitivity, and then increase your protein, your vegetables, your exercising, all those lemon juice, lime juice, you have to go low on it. But remember, one of your greatest decisions is to include more protein and fiber when you are dealing with insulin sensitivity, even the resistance. So, my dear, you can go also try out some of these things. Some of them are not expensive. Majority of them, they are not expensive. They are not things that you need to spend so much money on. What we just need is knowledge. Some of you have these things already in your premises. And I already gave us a caution that whenever you have some of these herbs around you, you have to be very, very careful, especially as you watch some videos, listen to some people say they took this, they took that. Don't just rush to do those things because you don't know the state of your body at the particular time, whether your body needs it, especially the older adult. Your body may not be in need of that particular thing at a particular point in time. When we talk of lemon juice, there are times like when someone is producing too much acid, you don't have to start taking lemon juice in the morning. As a matter of fact, I had to stay off lemon juice in the morning. I hadn't taken it. I didn't take it today. I took other things. I took cucumber, which I showed us a video on it. Cucumber and apple. Apple works very well too. Apple is good. Why is apple particularly good? Apple helps with toxins because toxic overload also helps to make things worse. So when you take food that help deal with toxins, help remove toxins from your body, you will observe that the work of dealing with insulin resistance is reduced. But when you are dealing with insulin resistance on one side and toxic overload on the other side, and then maybe cholesterol on the other side, that's the challenge of the older adult, my dear. You are trying to deal with all these things to manage your health. That's what we are saying, managing your health. You are trying to manage all at one time. So you don't need to just sit down and relax and say, I'm on medication, so I can go ahead now and eat whatever I like. It's not so. It's a lifetime journey. You keep doing, you keep changing, keep a little making changes, modification, when your body starts behaving somehow. And then stress makes it worse. I have to also reduce stress. Sometimes you see me, I'll just take off a day or two. Yes, if I suspect that I need to rest, and even if I have any life event or anything you want to do, I just throw it out. I just forget about it because I told us my health comes first. Your health comes first. If I schedule a video, for instance, on a particular day, and the other night was rough, and the other night was not so smooth, I didn't feel like doing it. That's what I do. And the good thing, sometimes I just come and give us notice. I won't show up because my health matters most. And the same thing you should be doing. Yes, you take a rest. After you rest, then you come out and then you'll be able to do the job or even tell us your experience. Because all these things, they add to our experience. It's not everything you watch, you hear. You test out some of them yourselves and come and share. That's what I did today. I said I was going to come to share this thing with a good number of us. Because some people are already going through the thing with big tummy moving, and they are still feeding the disease. They are still consuming those foods that are creating the problems. Just a little slowing down on the carbohydrates can help. Yes, it can help. When you slow down on too much of carbohydrates, it can reduce some of these challenges and help you to restore and regain your balance. A lot of time, when any little thing happens, we say it's malaria. Yes, too much fat in our body is also an imbalance. That one can clog the liver, and then we say it's malaria. We have herbs that we take like lemongrass that can help us. And we have a lot of other, even the neem is a herb that you can use when you suspect such, and then help to throw out the fat from the liver and then reduce the viral load of the bacteria, and then with your own adjustment, bringing in healthy foods, bringing in, you know, bringing in proteins and the rest of it, your body will just kick off again. So that's it. Don't need to keep yourself so, glued to a particular food that this one is so good and you'll be eating it. Before you know it, it's going to create problem for you. So that's about it. Insulin resistance, insulin sensitivity. Have you ever thought that the two are not synonymous as we have always been thinking? They're not so synonymous. From my own observation, sharing this very experience, one usually comes ahead of the other one. So when the other one comes, you have a right to your own opinion. That's my opinion anyway. You have right to your own. That's what I felt and I thought that happens or happened in this case. There are different foods that can help at different occasions if you suspect insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance. The problem we have today is ignorance. A lot of people are not aware of all this. They are not even when it's happening, a lot of people don't give heed to it. They don't care. And even when they care, they're not ready to pay the price, because there's a little price you need to pay in order to withdraw or to reverse it. Little price. That a lot of people just want to be on their comfort zone, take the medications, and then go ahead and eat the normal food they are eating, the same amount and everything. They are not ready to pay any price. Because before you can do or reverse most of these things, there is a price to be paid. Yes. Well, what is that price? You need to withdraw some of those delicacies, those foods you love. Those food that you love that may have created the problem, you need to withdraw from them. It's part of the price. And some of the habits, if you are not deliberate about exercising, you need to walk out of that, your comfort zone. That's a price. And begin to take out on a walk. Begin to engage in an exercise, especially outdoor exercising, in order for you to, to be able to get your balance. Then when the issue of, when it's coming with the issue of not sleeping, the sleep is not flowing, it was insulin resistance also. Because there was no proper blood flow to the legs. The legs are very important. You could massage. After massage, nothing is happening. Sometimes we share some messages, some videos, massage your feet. I have also done it on some occasions. Like even in that particular occasion, massage the feet, did nothing happen. Sit there awake, no sleep. Because you have not identified the problem. And now if you try it for 2 nights, the foot massage didn't bring any result, or you didn't feel any better, or you didn't get the expected result, then you begin to look out elsewhere. Maybe it's something else that your body is actually looking for, which you are yet to provide. And until you do that, you will not be okay. And that's why once your body begins to behave anyhow, you put this one, you eat this one, you don't do. You do this one, you don't do. You do this. You don't have to rest. You don't have to stop. You keep on trying out what exactly your body is looking for. Because before your body will start to disturb you here and there, it's asking you for something. Protein is very scarce. I've come to realize it. Most times it's even protein is asking for. And whereas it's asking for protein, you are going for medication. The medication you are going for is also going to need protein in order to work. So if your body needed more protein, if you are told how many grams of protein you need on a daily basis, it will shock some of you. You will suddenly realize that most of us, including my very self, we are not even taking enough on a daily basis. If you are told how many grams of protein you need daily, sometimes some of us will eat a plate of food and take 1 egg. And we say we have taken protein. I've heard a lot, even I was saying so before. And you know how many grams of protein in one egg? If I tell you how many you need to eat to get your own daily requirement, you know that even 4 is small, 5, you never get enough. Then when we eat one, we say it's too much. Sometimes we even cut the one into half. Say the one is too much. You can't finish it because of cholesterol. And then after that, we say we've taken protein. Then after the body, if the body cannot find protein to build, it starts causing problem, even the bones. I knew some of the feelings I was getting that time because of insufficient protein in the diet. Sometimes you'll be feeling something in your bone, tickling you. Sometimes like your bone is weak, your muscles are weak. You're getting various signals from your body. Various signals. Sometimes you look as if it's paining right, something is going to pinching you right to the back. No protein. Protein is the building block. That's what happens most of the time. Sometimes the thing will be pinching you on your skin. I was having this sensation during this period. Like it be pinching you. You know, some people have reported to me of something like pins. That's pre-diabetics and diabetics. Something like pin kind of feeling on the body. That's a name the doctors have for it. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I don't want to call it and destroy the name. But it has it's a medical condition. It has a name. So be pinching you like they are using pin. At that point, I had those feelings, but I don't have them again. That's the truth. These are the body speaking, our body's way of speaking. Don't just look for medication and silence it. Yes, if you go to hospital and report and say something is doing, they give you drug or medicine. When you take it, the drug tells your body to shut up. And then you continue to enjoy your sleep. Yes, you don't want to pay the price. And then the thing shuts up. And after some time, maybe years or whatever, it comes out to speak on another way again. You gotta take drug and shut that one up. That's not a good way. The older adults should particularly be ready also to pay little prices. Little prices. It's not much, but it's a little price to either withdraw for some of the foods you love and then begin to include some lifestyles. They may not be convenient for you, but you need to start to do them so as to be able to reverse some of these things, problems that we created. Yes, you and I created it through what we are eating. So let's reverse it through what we are eating too. That's just the way out. And that's exactly how we are going to resolve that issue, whether it's insulin sensitivity. When we do not do all of this sensitivity stuff, whether insulin resistance, sensitivity, and it continues, then finally, the person will be declared diabetic. So the person, after being declared diabetic, will be placed on medication. Now, what it actually means is that a good number of us are already pre-diabetic. That's what I said from the beginning. So don't let it not come to you as a surprise when I say this, that most of us are already pre-diabetic. Just put it, we are just managing with herbs. We are just managing with natural foods. And there is no gainsaying about it. Stress also makes it worse. There's too much stress in our environment. And if we can be able to reduce it, and not only reduce it, when we talk of stress, both physical stress, mental stress, emotional stress, psychological stress, just mention all kinds of. If you don't have money, it's stress, my dear. It's stress. Even when you have too much of it, it's stress. People will be coming to you for help here and there. I want to stress. A lot of things, facilities, amenities that you can naturally enjoy. You don't have it, you're running around to resolve them. They're all stress. Marital stress. All kinds of stress. And when these things are not properly managed, they all contributory factors to how our body handles both blood sugar and whatever. And remember that the blood sugar and the blood pressure, they work like twins. Yes, most people that are with blood pressure, they are already having blood sugar too. Most people that are having blood sugar, they are also careful not to have the other one. And so that is why we must all be, alert. Have that mind that if you are not on medication, you must use natural foods, natural means to continue to manage your body, manage your health here and there, and knowing what it is asking for each time. When it's not able to manage sugar, you reduce the sugar. The sugar, when the insulin is there, you have to be careful. When there is insulin resistance, you know what to eat, which herbs to take. But worst of it, you got to stay off caffeine. I talked a little about caffeine. If you have subscribed, don't forget, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, you need to quickly do so, because you get to hear more videos. Foods like coffee is good, but when you are managing or you are in this particular short-term situation, or rather, it's not the food of choice, because the caffeine is going to create those anxiety attacks, and it's going to drain cells of fluid. Yes, it's going to keep them dry, which is not healthy for you when you are managing diseases, when you are managing some ailments, especially in this case. But on a normal day, if everything is normal, working at a balance, once in a while, it's good to take a cup of coffee. It's good for your memories, helps you reduce depression. It helps you boost your metabolism. It helps you reduce weight gain, which are all contributory factors to this resistance and sensitivity that we are talking about. It helps you with your colon health and several other things that it does. But when you are faced with this type of situation, you leave it out first, because it will also reduce the little calcium. I need to mention it. The calcium you are managing, it's going to reduce it when you bring in caffeine at this point. Calcium is an electrolyte. And so when you bring in coffee, for instance, it's not the best time to do that. But foods like cocoa, I think I was bringing it in also because it's a good source of magnesium. And when you are faced with this situation, magnesium is important. You need to have eyes on magnesium-rich foods. Okra is a magnesium-rich food. Cocoa is a magnesium-rich food. I said nuts are, but because of the weight that you are trying to avoid, you have to give them a break a little, so that there won't be extra weight, much weight coming in. When your body is trying to manage a particular situation, you must have eyes on calorie, because when the calorie is coming and coming, the immune system is being suppressed. So it's not able to overcome that situation because you're bringing too much load on it. And most annoyingly is when it's mostly carbohydrates that you're bringing in. It's going to, defeat or reduce your chances of winning the fight. It's a fight. Yes, it's a fight. It's a warfare. So you are struggling to take back your health, And the things that are working against you are also struggling to survive. They want to stay there. They want to keep you there. And so that is the point we are making. You don't have to get so disturbed with some of these warning signals. Once you attain that age, they are living with you already. So you don't have to be disturbed or worried. Just continue to make your dietary changes. Continue to make dietary modifications. I mean, a little to the right, a little to the left, and you're going to be fine. It may take some time, some weeks, some days, but you obviously will be fine. That's what I can assure you. Because when it begins, the first thing, once you notice the problem, that this is what I am facing. The problem we have is, most times we say it's malaria. That is just the annoying aspect. A lot of people are still today, it's malaria, it's typhoid. It's malaria, it's typhoid. I'm not saying malaria and typhoid does not exist. They do exist. They are there with us. They are living with us. Well, all this helps with all these inflammation fighting foods we are taking. They don't have much chances anymore. It's when you give them chance that they come and stay. They just come in from outside. But if the environment in your body is not okay, they cannot thrive. It's just when you plant a seed, you plant two seeds, one on the fertile side, one on the other side. It's the one that is on the good soil that will come out and will grow. So our body is like the ground where these things come in. And it's only when they find favorable environment there that they can stay and thrive. And so I'll be rounding up the life at this point in time. And I want to thank all of you for coming. It's been a good time together. And those of you who have stayed all through, thank you so much. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more live sessions like this. See you again.